What's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Boogie2988 coming at you live once again through the power of the internet. And over the weekend, a trailer for a game was released. The game is called Hatred, and it's caused a slight outrage in the gaming community and the people who report it, and I want to talk about that. And not because I want these guys to get any more attention than they're getting. I believe they deserve zero of the attention, just to be very clear. But because I think there's a grander point that needs to be made here, and one that I think we can all enjoy. So in the hopes that you'll never Google this trailer and never look at that game, I'll describe it to you now. It's in black and white, and there's a dude who's gathering his guns, and he's delivering some sort of monologue in which he says the human race cannot be saved, and it's disgusting, and he hates everybody, he's going to go kill everybody. And then he leaves his house, and he proceeds to do so. And he kills people indiscriminately, men and women, civilians, and cops, I think dogs and cats, and puppies and children. This is disgusting. And it does it in all these really ultra-violent ways. And overall, it's just kind of gross. But what makes it particularly gross is this is a thinly veiled attempt to manipulate gaming journalists and Fox News pundits and gamers who have a bit of a chip on their shoulder in the hopes that their hatred will make them famous, or perhaps boost their sales, or perhaps help them make some sort of point that's not immediately available to us. And for the most part, gamers and gaming journalists have rejected it outright, just not even wanted to cover it. Now, that's not true of everybody. Polygon right now has actually written 4 articles about it so far, and I bet by the time you see this, it'll be up to like 10. But I don't know why they're obsessed with that game, but they are for some reason. They really want to report on this. I think maybe they're surprised that they're not getting the clicks that they should, but for the most part, most people have just been kind of shrugging it off. And that's why your article's not getting the views you're expecting. And that's why your YouTube videos are not getting the views you're expecting, because gamers are over it. Now, detractors of gaming will say, well, that's because gamers are desensitized to violence. They're so used to it as a storytelling mechanic or a game mechanic that they're so desensitized, they don't even feel outraged, even when that kind of violence is put in this kind of disgusting framework, and they're bad people, and shame, shame, shame. And I don't think that's true. Anybody who's played Last of Us, by the time you finish that game, you abhor violence. And there's many games like it. But for the most part, I think the reason that gamers are not as outraged as we should be is because we just don't give a shit. And that's a good thing. And let me explain why. Gamers are no longer just teenage children. Gamers covers a larger group of people than it's ever covered before. And this includes a lot of mature men and women. And with that maturity, of course, comes social responsibility. We abhor things like this. But we also understand the bargain of free speech and the bargain of freedom of expression. And that's why we allow things like this to exist. We're not purchasing them. Nobody rushed out to get their pre-orders today. Nobody's excited about this game except a handful of assholes. But the rest of us are not outraged because we understand in order for us to be able to play the types of games that we want to play, or read the types of books that we want to read, or watch the kind of films that we want to watch, we have to accept that there will be unpopular things out there as well. Things that we think are disgusting, and yes, things that are socially irresponsible. As frustrating as that can be to accept, that's part of the deal. But the best news is this proves that with mainstream gaming and mainstream gamers, for the most part, we're not as easily manipulated as we used to be by bullshit articles and bullshit game developers and just overall bullshit. And that feels awesome. Most of us are immune to this kind of thing. Most of us. I'm looking at you, Polygon. The conversation about violence in video games is one that's worth having, and it's one that we've had for decades now, and we always have to question the human motive of using violence as a storytelling mechanic in every medium, including video games. But the good news is, we don't have to have that conversation today because a group of assholes from Poland decided to put it into a video game, violence just for violence sakes, because gamers have successfully rejected it and told them to go fuck themselves. Feels good, man. So keep up the good work, guys. Stay mature. Don't take the bait. I love you guys. I'll speak with you soon. Thanks for watching.